Wall Street Journal had a pretty interesting report about a sort of reckoning that's happening right now within the professional managerial class, where basically, as they witness, number one, which jobs are actually essential in the economy and the people who have, really been forced on the front lines to keep the country running, and on the other hand are like stuck at home, doing their spreadsheets, doing their Zoom calls, doing their normal work, but without the distractions of the office culture and the drama and importance that is given in their day-to-day lives. They're really sort of reckoning with what their work is, what they're contributing to, and whether it is ultimately meaningful at all.
Right, and this is especially true for the professional managerial class, and what you're just pointing to is my favorite. At BlackRock Inc., employees are increasingly saying, pay me my worth, but I also want to feel like I'm contributing something larger than myself, the asset manager's chief marketing officer told the Wall Street Journal. So you're like, if you're working at a massive hedge fund, you are not really contributing to society. Contributing to yourself, and hey, look, whatever, it's America. Yeah. But don't delude yourself. That's one of my favorite things. When I meet finance guys, they're like, excuse me, we are creating the capital so small businesses can fund. I'm like, show me your balance sheet and show me a single small business in some town in Pennsylvania, in Erie,
that you're actually supporting.
Yeah, it's like, I'll believe you for supporting small businesses in Guangzhou, China.
Right.
But that's it.
Yes. Yeah. I liked this quote. Yeah. And look, I don't want to totally belittle this, because I actually think it's a good reckoning that we're having of like seeing who actually does the work that makes this country run. Mm-hmm. Like the things that we actually depend on for our literal lives day to day. I think having that revealed is actually a positive thing. I actually think that this soul searching and reckoning is a good thing, because oftentimes we know those people who are doing the most essential and most brutal and most difficult and dangerous and sometimes monotonous jobs are the ones who are treated the worst by this society, or treated as completely disposable, who are paid the least. And so I actually think, and also we have a whole proliferation of basically bullshit jobs in this country, of people who...
There's a great book on that, actually.
There is a fantastic book on that, who basically, if their jobs went away, no one would really care or notice or any of that. And so I think some awareness of that is interesting. About a quarter of people who answered this survey said that they were essentially having these doubts about their own work and whether it was meaningful, whether it was important at all. I also thought this quote was interesting. This is from a Yale School of Management professor who studies meaning in people's lives. She said, without the coffee dates, meeting, and camaraderie of time with colleagues, you're left with the work itself. And if the work starts to feel wanting, it can lead to painful reckonings. And I do think that's kind of what's going on. Like when you're in an office culture and you have those interactions and you have like your little office dramas and all this
it
tends
to feel different.
It can feel like it takes on a level of importance and centrality in your life. And so when those pieces are stripped away and you're just left with what you are doing day to day, suddenly you can't distract yourself from what it is you're actually engaged in.
I think that's right. It's like when you're just sitting at home in an empty screen and trading asset classes and trying to like milk more money out of bonds or whatever. It's like,
yeah.
What are you really doing with your life?
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of relate to that. When I was first down in college, I worked for this federal contractor called CGI. They're actually the ones that ended up going. It was AMS, that now it's CGI. Now it might be something else. I don't know. They're the ones that screwed up the Obamacare website. Oh, yeah. It's hilarious. And I worked for them designing federal government accounting systems, working with the federal courts. And there were parts of it that were fun. I got to travel the country to different federal court systems and kind of see how that works. But the day in work of it is incredibly tedious. You do sit there going like, what am I doing with my life? Right? It's like really soul crushing and deadening. So I can kind of relate and sympathize to what a lot of folks are going through right now.
Yeah, same thing happened to me. First job out of New York and first job out of DC in New York, managing assets and looking at commodity prices. And it took 3 months before I was like, I'm out.
Not doing this, not doing it anymore. Right. So solidarity with our fellow PMC friends, and always solidarity with those who are out there doing the essential work that should be treated as such even outside of pandemic times.
That's right.
We'll have more Rising for you after this.